on there. So I'm ready when you are, Graham. If you start the presentation.
Let's go then. Can you see him?
I can, yes.
There you go.
Thank you, Graham. Right, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is well and in good form and enjoying this lovely weather. Welcome to Larkin-Gow's Business Brunch. Today's presentation is entitled The Importance of Developing People. Graham, we've got a good hour. Looking forward to it?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Quite a bit of work into this one, Ian. Yeah, we both know how important this is, particularly for our team. So a lot of good content to cover.
Excellent. The slide on the screen now just gives you some tips to get the best experience from the next hour. I'll let you read it, but just highlight a couple during the presentation. Be great if you put yourself on mute and turn your camera off. When we're in the breakout rooms, you can turn them on and we'll interact and network. But during the presentation, just turn them off. Have a look at your name. You may want to rename yourself or rename your company. Yeah, either to get it correct or if you just fancy a change, that might be interesting. We're going to record the presentation. It will be available on our website. There will be a poll and there will be a breakout group, and we'll ask for feedback from one member. So looking forward to it. The next slide from Graham shows the running order. The presentation is going to be delivered today by Graham Mummery and myself, and probably a great opportunity, really, Graham, for you to say good morning properly and introduce yourself.
Yeah, so thanks, Ian. Morning, everybody. My name's Graham. I'm a advisory and audit partner based in our Ipswich office, sitting in the corporate team alongside Ian. And today marks my 1-year anniversary with the firm. So a year of a lot of change, very different than I anticipated before I started. And still feel really like the new boy. So looking forward to finally, when Freedom Day does arrive, getting more people back together and starting to drive some of this, some of what we're talking about today through our teams.
Excellent. So it's a year to today that you joined the firm, Graham.
It is.
Well, Graham, if you're in the office, I've got a cake for you. Here it is. So to celebrate. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Ian Fitch. I'm also a partner in the corporate team, basically helping our clients to prosper. The running order is to the left of the screen. I'm pleased to say we're already on budget and we're tracking well. The main presentation will be shortly, and then at around 10:25 we'll go off into breakout groups. This will be automatic. You'll just click on the link and you'll then go into a room and discuss maybe something that you'll do differently as a consequence of today's presentation. And then at around 10:45 we'll bring you back to the main room and we'll ask for one person from each group just to feedback maybe the best idea, the best insight, the best experience to share with the rest of the group. And I have to say that's the most enjoyable part of the whole presentation. Hope that sounds good. So kicking off, a really important question. We're now into day 5 actually of the European Championship, and I just wanted to make certain that you are all filling in your wall chart, or is it just me? Is it just an accountant's thing? What I'd like you to do, actually, I'd like to know if you're doing it at home. Just put something in the chat box just to say if you are completing that wall chart, and actually, if you know who's going to win, just type in which country you think they're going to win the European Championship. And then when we have our next event in September, if you are successful in predicting the winner, we'll make it worth your while. There'll be a special prize. So please get them sending through and we'll see what happens in September. So Graham, today, our presentation is part 2 of the trilogy around people. Part 1 was in March. Becky Ames and Graham got really good feedback on a presentation on how to attract the right talent for your business. The main points were employer brand, how important that was, making certain that you considered the culture of the business and whether the individual would fit that culture, the number of touch points with the candidate before they started and how important that was, and lastly, being flexible with your remuneration. It's not all about money. So that was really good. Today is around developing people, and part 3, hopefully, fingers crossed, will be an actual breakfast face-to-face in September, where we talk about how you retain talent in your business. And wouldn't that be great, Graham, if we actually got together for a breakfast?
Yeah, seems a long way off, but fingers crossed we can pull that together.
Our aim from today is to act as facilitators, get my words out there. We're not experts. Our goal is to get you to think about things differently and go away and take some action. A lot of the points we're going to talk about today, you will know and you'll be aware of, but it's a timely refresh. And with our stimulation, the vast experience in the breakout rooms, and maybe some time away from the coalface to allow you to reflect, our aim is you come away with one point that you'll do differently, or maybe think about something in a slightly different way. Our advice is that you write that point down, perhaps write it neatly on your Euro wall chart, because if you write it down, you are statistically proven to be 67% more likely to do it. So if we achieve that at the end of the hour, we'll be really pleased. Hope that sounds good. I know Graham is ready to go. So Graham, over to you.
Thanks, Ian. So as Ian just said, we're going to cover the second of our trilogy of business brunches along the theme of attract, develop and retaining top talent. All too often when a business is struggling or cash flow is looking tight, the learning and development of our teams starts to suffer. We've seen this throughout the pandemic with the development of teams stagnating, which brings us nicely onto this quote. What if I develop my people and they leave? Or alternatively, what if you don't and they stay? Which I think summarizes how many businesses think about investing in their teams. So today we're going to cover off some of the important reasons why businesses should take this seriously, and more importantly, how you should go about applying this. The workforce is undergoing a revolution. Traditional learning styles may no longer be as effective as they once were considered to be. Before we get into that though, we thought we'd test the temperature of the room and check you're all awake with a quick poll. So, which of these most reflects your current development style? We send all our people away for a weekend retreat where they're lectured at for 2 days. Our people do structured learning on block release from work. All our learning and development is done on our YouTube and TikTok channels. A combination of the above, or what's learning and development? We should have the poll pop up if you just select an answer. Give people a few more seconds to answer. Right, Ian, I think we've got the results there.
Waiting with anticipation.
There we go. So if I just share the results with you, you can see majority of people looking at a combination of these actually. Which Ian, we probably might expect that, mightn't we?
Yeah, I think we would. Interesting that no one does learning on YouTube or on TikTok.
I know, well, they can't have many Gen Zers in their workforce, and that's what we're gonna come on to today. And I think for 3 people who what's learning and development, hopefully you'll get a bit out of today, and definitely encourage you to write something and pin it on your World Cup wall chart. Euro wall chart, sorry. You know, football's not my thing.
But you're trying, Graham, so that's good.
I try my best. So training and development isn't just important to your teams, it's vital. Obviously, the aim of any training and development is to benefit the company, and Ian's going to come on to those benefits. But any business is going to be looking for a return on their investment. The ancillary benefits to the individual are not to be overlooked. So first off, we've got efficiency. Professional development can help to ensure that your staff maintain and enhance the knowledge and skills needed to deliver a professional service to your colleagues, to the customer, and to the community, enabling staff to advance in their career and move into new positions where they can in turn lead, manage, influence, or mentor others. We've also got consistency. A structured training and development program can help to ensure all employees have a consistent level of experience and knowledge. This allows you the confidence of knowing your staff all have the same set of skills required, and your customers can expect a consistent product. Compliance. So training and development can help to ensure that your knowledge is relevant and up to date, ensuring that you and your staff are compliant with all the latest regulations. Addressing weaknesses as well. Even the best employees have some weaknesses. When it comes to their workplace skills, an ongoing training and development program allows you to find and address any weaknesses, helping your employees to be more rounded and better skilled at every factor of their job. And last but not least, confidence, probably most important. Training and development can help to increase employees' confidence within their role. Investment in training and development helps to show employees they're appreciated, which can help them to feel a greater level of job satisfaction. And we know staff operating in the sphere of confidence are more productive overall. So Ian, what are the benefits to the business?
Graham, I think you've made a strong case as to why development is important for individuals. But for business owners or maybe people who manage teams or departments, they'll probably be thinking, wow, God, we're fighting fires every day, Graham. We're dealing with the pandemic. We've got Brexit. We've got to win sales. We've got to deliver. We've got fulfillment. We've got to get our P11Ds done by the 6th of July. Is it that important? It takes time. It costs money. And I've got so many other things to do. That's what people could be thinking. But actually, we know if everyone is really truthful, they know developing their people could have huge benefits. And you can see there on the slide, you've got a note of some potential benefits. And taking all the things that Graham says, if you bring that together, that energy, that confidence, that knowledge, and you've got output increased from your team by 1% each month consistently, where might you be in 24 months? It could be amazing. Could it help with growing your business? Whether that is, through greater customer service, about winning new accounts, about delivering new products or services. Well, it could do. Could it help increase your profit? More efficiency, greater gross profit, cutting overheads. Well, it could, couldn't it? And a big thing there, could it actually help free up some time so you could think more and maybe spend more time with your family? Well, I'm sure it could. And some really, really big stuff. If you develop your people, it might give you an exit route. The business might be more valuable, it might be more saleable, and actually the management team might wish to succeed you and take it over when you wish to retire. So I think the big thing about developing your business is that it just gives you opportunities. And I think the last slide from Graham, the message I really want to get across is it just gives you options. It just gives you options. There's a great saying that, if nothing changes, nothing will change. And I guess if I spoke to some of you today and I asked you, how are things going? You would probably say, Ian, yeah, it's okay. But truthfully, you probably are too busy. Your stress levels might be getting to a too high a level. you never quite deliver what you really want to deliver. You're working long hours, your family doesn't recognise you, maybe, and it's been like that for, you know, the last 4.5 years. But you convince yourself that tomorrow it will all be better, and we know that isn't necessarily the case. So I think, you know, we make a good case here that developing your people might just help. And I think it's really important we took time out, both from Graham to look at the individual benefits and for me to look at the company benefits, just to establish the why. Why is it important? I think we've made that case, Graham. I think,
absolutely, Ian. Yeah, I think we
we've
have
done that. And now we've done the why, we go on to the how. And should I start, Graham?
Yeah, kick us off with some of the how we go about doing development.
Right, so next slide, please. Did you like that? Did that remind you of anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, right, so let's move on. So how do we do it? Well, here's a picture. We've all been there, haven't we? Training courses, yeah, I remember them well. I'm sure they'll come back. We get our team together, we have a speaker. Yeah, we've done that. That's one way of developing our people. The next slide from Graham, we've been there as well. We just immerse them in, you know, technical details, study materials. We get them to, you know, learn it, remember it, and then perhaps we even, you know, send them off to get tested on it and they do exams. And we've done that as well. Equally, I'm sure from time to time, we have a spate of buying our teams management books to go and get them to read them. We suggest they might want a mentor or a coach or secondments. All great stuff, Graham.
Hold on, Ian, hold on a second. No one wants to learn like that anymore. The world has moved on, you know it has. People don't have the attention span for those sitting in front of books, trawling through them, sitting in classrooms for days on end. This is the TikTok generation. If it can't be taught in 15-second sound bites, then it's just not worth learning. Okay, a bit dramatic for effect there, but we can't really ignore the fact that the environment in which we operate is changing rapidly. For example, the world's largest taxi firm owns no cars, the world's most popular media company creates no content, and the largest accommodation provider owns no property. These business models would have been unthinkable 20 years ago. And so it follows that learning and development techniques from 20 years ago need to adapt. Indeed, the generational shift within the workforce introduces numerous challenges for us as leaders. From Generation X, who are typically quite cynical about these sorts of things, through millennials who have grown up with technology and are au fait using it, and now through to Generation Z entering the employee pool. These are people who are born into a digital world and know no different. So it's really embedded in what they do. If we look at Google, for example, and how they do their development, their much publicized 20% time allowed employees to spend 20% of their own time on personal development. We can see the life cycle of development programs coming from this. This program's been attributed to the success of Gmail and of AdSense, which now fundamentally drives Google's revenue. Airbnb, which was mentioned before, they use fireside chats to bring in leaders in different industries to help their people learn from how others go about doing things. Airbnb say from CEOs to musicians, these leaders always have something invaluable to teach us. So you can see there are a couple of different ways there we can think outside of the traditional learning to help our employees become more successful. The point on the importance of development becomes even more stark when we consider what's going on in the workplace right now. We're entering into a situation that many businesses won't have seen before, whether going back into the office completely, whether you've downsized your real estate and everyone's now home-based, or, and this is what we're seeing a lot, a hybrid model of both of these, there will be challenges associated. The point here to be wise to is the potential for any working pattern to cause resentment within teams, and for that resentment to be left unaddressed and to fester into a toxic dynamic that's going to damage productivity and damage people's well-being. We can use individual development time to overcome these challenges. However, to make this effective, businesses actually need to think about the needs of the individual or a team. So what might that look like? When we talk about development, it's difficult to know where to start. However, we often see when trying to make something systematic, that can give us a framework that we can then use to monitor and assess. Because as we all know, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. I'll give you an example here, but what's really key is you find something that's a good fit for your team dynamic. The example is the one that we've seen utilised by many organisations, in that it's the 70-20-10 rule. That means 10% of learning should be structured learning. By this, we typically mean done in a formal time slot away from other distractions. This might be a workshop, a webinar, an online learning portal, e-learning, or even a good old-fashioned classroom. During the pandemic, we've actually seen this side of things done quite well. I'm sure we can all remember the days last summer sat on endless webinars, teaching us one thing or another. 20% then should be learning from others. Here we're talking about interactions with other people in the workplace, collaborating on projects, using coaching or mentoring, working through some user-generated content, much like this one, using information from our networks and from feedback. In our opinion, this is the gap that's widened most over the past 18 months. This side of things has many businesses we speak to have found hard to replicate during lockdowns. And lastly, 70% should then be about learning from experience. We're talking here about how effectively can that previous learning be integrated into an individual or team workflow. Some of this might come from individual actionable learning or problem solving. You might look to broaden opportunities by implementing a work shadowing scheme, for example, or a placement or job rotation scheme, or getting people involved in a special project or in some assignments that are going to stretch them. The key point to make here is that it's really important to have something systematic in place so your team's development can be monitored. This is just an example. You may decide something different is right for your organisation, and there are any number of ways to systemize your team development. So it's probably quite timely to take a look at what you do as an organisation for individual development and think about the areas in which you could get improvements in investing in this. Ultimately, when we think about the quote we used to open this session, what if I develop my people and they leave? And what if you don't and they stay? We could look to flip this around and try to focus on the positives. To quote another well-used phrase, people won't remember what you did, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And when we relate this to training and development, people are always going to remember the skills that they've learned along your journey. So, Ian.
No, thank you, Graham. That's interesting. I'm sort of listening to you talking. The thing that I'm taking away is that you do need a structure. That structure might be different for different businesses and for different individuals, but you need to have a plan and you need to set out what you're going to do. And today isn't necessarily telling people do A, B, C, D, or E. It's just giving them the framework to think about these things.
Absolutely.
The two key points from this morning is, I think, yes, developing people is really important, and it has good benefits for the individual and the business. And given the war for talent at the moment that is out there, can you afford not to develop your people? And then the second point, how do you do it? I think what we're saying is that what you did 20 years ago might not be, effective for everyone today, and you might need to breathe new life into it. So I think that is the end of the formal part of the presentation. Hopefully we've given you some things to think about. What we would like to do now is to go off into breakout groups where you can discuss with people in your room what you might do differently when you start to think about the importance of developing your people. What we'll do, we'll probably be in there for about 15 minutes, something like that. We'll then come back, and then I'll ask for one nominee in each room to feedback the best idea, the best concept, the best insight, succinctly. And I'll use that word again, succinctly. Otherwise we might be here until 12 o'clock. So please, you know, I don't wish to cut people off at the time, but just summarize it really well. And it'll be great to hear what you think. A link will appear on your screen very shortly, as if by magic, which if you press, you'll go off into your room. Please introduce yourself to your roommates, a nice networking opportunity. Turn your camera and mic on and enjoy yourself. And we'll see you back here in about 15 minutes. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Just waiting for Ian to put in an appearance.
I'm here.
Oh, I couldn't see you. There you are.
Yeah.
How was your breakout room, Ian?
No, it was very good. I had some good conversation, and we've got a good point to share. So I'm just having a look to see how many rooms we've got. Do you know how many rooms we went out into, Graham? We went into 4. Well done, Graham. That's a good answer. So we've got 4 rooms to feedback, and I don't know who the nominee is in each room, so I'll just go room 1. Can that person make themselves known? And as I said, yeah, a very succinct, short little summary of, you know, the top takeaway from their discussions. And I know, Graham, you're just going to note them down, and we can then share them, you know, later, you know, by email as a resume of today's presentation. So let's start in the traditional way, and we'll go to room number 2.
Oh, hi there, I'm Nick Carey. I don't know how to make myself everyone see me, but I'm waving my hand.
Yeah, you're fine, Nick.
Yeah.
Hi, Nick.
Hi. So we had a good chat, and I drew the short straw from something that I was brave enough to stick my head above the parapet and say what I do. I've used all of the sort of basic trainings in the past, gone into classrooms and things like that, and a day away every month. But I've recently gone on to sort of like the TikTok, YouTube generation, and I do 15 minutes worth of training every day. I've signed up for an online MBA course, which is a year's course, and I do 15 minutes online every day, which I find really beneficial to me, and the others in group 2 seem to think it was good, but I don't think I actually opened a Word document during that breakout session and made some notes, because I thought someone, I think it was John, made the point about using appraisals and train to people's goals and making people feel good. But the breakout was that just regular and little and often. I also listen to TED Talks, which is what Graham Mummery does as well. So I do little and often, and it fits in with my with my busy work-life balance. So 15 minutes a day is how I'd potentially like to carry on, and maybe encourage my team to learn as well. So yeah, that's it really.
Excellent. Thank you, Nick. That's really interesting, and it's really good, you know, to have someone who is using YouTube, TikTok, bite-sized pieces. Thank you for sharing that, Nick.
No.
Right, we'll go on to room number 3. So who's the spokesperson?
That's me.
Carrie Ann, good morning.
Good morning, Ian. Well, we've got 3 points, so I'll try and be succinct in those 3 points. We had a lot of great discussion, and the point that Graham said about, you know, the fear of training them and people leaving, you know, it's really important to train your staff to retain them. So that's the overriding kind of feeling, and that's something to take away to go back to that particular person's managing director. There's the fear of making themselves redundant. So the fear that you think if you train someone too much, then they're going to basically make you redundant. But, you know, that shouldn't be a factor. You should be concentrating and training your team to ensure that, you know, at some point in the future you can retire yourself. And also the level of contact, obviously with COVID and us all having to work remotely, it's really, people are really keen to get back to the office, even if it's just a couple of days a week, so that you've got that 70%, I think it's the 20 that Graham was talking about, with when you're listening and you're hearing and people are helping you and mentoring you. So really keen to get back to the office so that we can do more of that.
Lovely, thank you, Carrie-Anne, for that. That's good. And room number 4, that was my room. I think that's John.
I'm glad you reminded me of the number because I wouldn't have remembered it. Towards the end of our talk, we started talking about how we did the training, what the training looked like, and I was just reflecting on what Casey was saying out of room 2 about regular, little, and often, which I think is a really, really good point. I would add to that different, because I think the blend and the variety is also really important to maintain interest and get value out of it. But really, I think the main point, Ian, that we got out of our room was how one approached this, whether one approached it on the basis of the business's needs and what the business wanted to do, or whether you approached it on the individual needs and what individuals needed to get them up to speed to develop themselves. Because at the end of the day, if you do just the business needs and not the individuals, you're in danger of constraining the potential of the individuals. So you need to do the two in parallel, we felt, to get the best outcome. I think that was the key point.
Thank you, John. No, indeed it was, and you've explained that very succinctly. So thank you. And finally, room 1. Who is the spokesperson for room 1?
I think that's me, Ian. Becky.
Hello, Becky. How are you?
Morning. Good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Is that your Euro wall chart behind you?
Oh, I thought someone would ask, and you have done that, Becky. Yes, it is. Yes. It is exciting, isn't it?
No, it's really not.
He really wanted to get Ronaldo in shot.
Honestly.
Carry on, Becky.
Thank you. We had a great discussion, and the key points are probably relevant for a lot of things that we've learned from the pandemic, in that it's all about balance, isn't it, going forward? So people like bite-sized training, and they like it to be online, and we think the days of probably 3-day residential courses of structured learning are past. In fact, whole day courses are not attractive to a lot of people now, and you really need to understand the benefits of training if you're going to engage people in anything that is longer than a bite-sized session. So we've seen the benefits of reduced travel and cost as well, in terms of not traveling to events, training and things like that. So loads of positives, but equally, as ever with these things, finding balance is the tricky bit, and it's really important, because we still want people to socialise, to interact and to learn from each other. So it's going to vary, isn't it? And it's going to take us time to find out what's going to work for our teams and for the individuals in our teams.
Thank you, Becky. Just listening to the feedback from the 4 rooms, and it was diverse. It covered a lot of things, but the sort of key messages coming through really, I think, is little and often. I think a lot of people have said a little and often. So I think that's a really good takeaway. Making it relevant to the individual. One size doesn't fit all. And the importance of maybe getting back into the office and learning from each other's day-to-day jobs. Again, I think was a strong message. So I think we're coming to the end of the presentation. I really hope that you've got something out of this morning, and that you'll go away and you'll think about things, and you'll think about them slightly differently, and talk amongst yourselves or amongst your teams, just to think about how you develop your people and what the benefits could be. And really thank you for turning up this morning. And I hope in the breakout rooms you might have spoken to someone that you hadn't spoken to before, and made a new connection. Just like to thank Carrie-Anne, Lizzie and Amy, who are the Larkingown Business Development team, who make this morning possible, and it happens seamlessly. So thank you very much, Carrie-Anne, Lizzie and Amy. Really appreciate your help. We'd like to encourage you to go to our website and just give us feedback on today's presentation. We're happy to take praise if we've been amazing, and equally we're big enough to take criticism if we haven't delivered to your expectation, because we like feedback, we always want to improve. So please go to our website and let us know what you think. And just before you depart, please note Tuesday, the 14th of September in your diaries. That is when we hope to present the third part of the trilogy on retaining talent in your business. And we hope to do this in person at Kesgrave Hall Hotel over breakfast. So fingers crossed that will happen. And as a thank you to everyone for your support over the last year or so, it will be free of charge. So hopefully that will bring a lot of smiles and it will be great to engage face to face. So let's, hope that happens. So just a little bit of a feedback. Yes, it's only me that fills in Euro Championships wall chart. Thank you for that. And the most popular winner is France. So there are a few people who said France. John Bloor said Sweden. I always knew he didn't know very much about football, but there you go. Graham, I think we are probably coming to the end and we are ahead of schedule. So that's really good. So Graham, any closing remarks?
No, I think for me, the key standout is making it part of your everyday routine, making this something that you just do, getting it embedded in your DNA, and it is important. And yeah, can't wait to see everyone face to face in September if we're allowed to.
Excellent, great. Well, on that note, I hope you have a splendid morning and have a great summer, and look forward to seeing you soon. So it's goodbye from Graham.
Bye.
And it's goodbye from me. Have a great morning.